council meeting to order December the 5th, 2022 at 5:30. Mr. Jones, would you mind doing the invocation? Afterwards, we'll say pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we just come to thank you for the ability to gather here and to serve our city and serve our citizens. We ask you that you spread your blessings through the holiday season and to those that are less fortunate, and to give us a beautiful holiday that for everyone to enjoy and share with their families. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Ms. Cox, we get a roll call, please.
Councilor Davis.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mauser is absent. Mayor Warren.
Here.
Councilor Upton.
Here.
Councilor Kirby.
Here. All right, we have a couple of presentations this morning, or this evening. Wow. That we need to acknowledge some very important people that have served our city. They've been with us for a long time, and I want to recognize them. Mr. Jones, let's
We'll do the fire.
okay, you want to do the fire department?
I'm gonna let Cliff do it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, you can.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
Jason, come on up here, please.
Mr. Peters, I want to thank you for the years of service that you've put into the city of Eufaula. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I know you'll be behind us every way you can. All right, buddy.
Well, Jason has been with us for 20 years. Not a lot of people make it 20 years in the fire department. A lot of them will go other places, but Jason's been a dedicated firefighter, and we appreciate what he has done for us. And he said, "Can I still wear my shirts and my jacket?" I said, "Well, yes, sir. You're still, as far as I'm concerned, on the department. Even though he's retiring, he just getting a little paid for it now, is what it is." So, but anyway, Jason, he's done an outstanding job for the city of Eufaula. And we really, really, really appreciate everything he's done. So we appreciate him.
Mr. Farrow.
Will you talk about it too?
Well, Marty, it's been a pleasure. After retirement.
Okay.
Drove some cons.
Oh, yeah.
We love you and appreciate everything you've done for the city of Eufaula. I want to present that to you on behalf of the city of Eufaula. It's not up to perfection like we wanted it, so we're going to give it back so we can get it done right. Okay? Thank you, sir, for your service. We appreciate it.
Marty and I started way back in the 40s to get,
Come on now. We're not that old.
it's back in the 90s, early 90s when we started together. And I'm losing a lot of knowledge right here. I call him all the time, ask him, "Hey, about that." So I know Chief Murray put an article in the paper about him, and people don't realize what we're losing right here. But I'm proud of him for being able to retire, and I know his mom and dad, he helps out a lot. And I hope you enjoy it, buddy. I'll miss you, man. I'll be calling you.
We love you, brother. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Item 5, approval of minutes, regular council meeting November 7th, 2022. Approval of, item 6, approval of the treasurer's report. Item 7, approval of November 2022 payroll figures for the general fund in an amount of $77,128.46. And item 8, receipt of claims, City of Eufaula. Council?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Counselor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Kirby.
Yes.
All yes, that motion carried. Let's move on to items removed from the consent agenda. Item 9, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement to item A. We're going to have to vote on these separately. Amend the City of Eufaula Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Section 12-2400 definitions to include metal siding as an allowable building material for the outside exterior finish of a structure within the Eufaula city limits. Mr. Jones.
Well, Mayor, this is a topic of conversations probably being ongoing for months. Seriously, for the last 3 to 4 months, we've went out, done our research, compared what we do to other towns and other cities, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. We've had multiple conversations in planning and zoning about this subject, multiple conversations between Councilman Upton and the mayor with planning and zoning to make sure that we're all on the same page as the direction that we want to go with allowing metal structures here within the metal sided structures within the city limits of Eufaula. So item A is it basically adds metal siding to the definition of allowable exterior finishes. And then item B will amend the use conditions under Chapter 4, Section 410. And when we get to that one, we've got some language that we can talk about and kind of lay out. And there's a little bit of a choice in there as to how you want to be able to have metal used, whether, from a facade standpoint, whether there's a covering material on it, or if it's two-tone or not. So item A is to add it to the definitions. That's the first thing we want to do.
Make a motion that we add it to the definitions.
Well, I've got a question. When we're talking about metal siding, we're including all metal siding, correct?
Yes,
In this definition.
yes. Residential or commercial.
Okay, that was my next question, residential or commercial.
Yes.
Okay.
So the language in the definition that we want to add to it, it specifically says metal meeting the most current edition of the International Residential Code specifications, can be used as an exterior finish if the requirements in Chapter 4, Section 410 use conditions are met. So kind of they're separate, but they're tied together.
Actually, in the International Building Code.
It is. There's a specification on gauge, there's a specification on construction methods. And so
But this is just the definitions.
just to add this to our definitions.
Then we're gonna get into what you just.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll second Mr. Kirby's motion.
Counselor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Kirby.
Yes.
All yes, that motion carries. Let's go on to 9B, amend the City of Eufaula zoning code, Chapter 4, Section 410, permitted principal uses, use condition related to the use of metal siding as an allowable building material for the outside exterior finish of a structure within the Eufaula city limits. All right, Mr. Jones, we'll let you finish this one.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to read to you is the language that was discussed in planning and zoning. Everything here was approved by planning and zoning except for one small portion of the use condition. I'll spell that out to you when I reach it, and then you can decide. Once we decide on this, then the process we're going to use is we're going to take your recommendations. We're going to go take them back. I'll get with the city attorney. Then we have to draft an ordinance that reflects the changes that you approved. Then we'll bring that back to you, that ordinance back to you in January for final approval. Make sure that we've provided you with the language as we discuss and approve here. All right. So under use condition, this is under, we're going to discuss item number 2, number 3, and number 4. So it says you utilize residential construction standards prescribed by the most current edition of the International Residential Code, which at this point in time is 2018. A, exterior finishing materials as defined therein, Chapter 24, Section 12-2400, definitions of the City of Eufaula Code of Ordinances, which is what you just approved. You just approved metal, okay? B, metal siding meeting the standards outlined in the most current edition of the International Residential Building Code can be used as an exterior finish if the following requirements are met. Any metal building permitted under this section shall have all sides of the building contain a minimum of a 33% facade wainscoting of rock, wood, or any other customary residential finishing materials as defined herein, Chapter 24, Section 12-2400 of definitions. The building must meet the minimum 33% requirements on all sides. So there have been some discussions about whether we want to do the front or front and side street facing. And so planning and zoning voted to the circumference of the building. So 33% on a standard residential house would meet the 32 inches that you had discussed, is how we did that. And that's why we put it into a percentage, because we were afraid, felt like if we put it in as inches and you had a building that's 10 foot tall and only had a 32 inch facade on it, we didn't know if that would be aesthetically be some balance to it.
I've got a question on that myself. On the facade, I feel it needs to stay on there. It could be a two-tone metal, not necessarily a brick or rock or anything like that.
Okay, so that was the part that I left out that we need to discuss. As the planning and zoning voted, they voted to leave two-tone metal out. Okay, so the language that we had suggested was a minimum of 33% facade wainscoting of two-tone metal that is complementary to the predominant metal siding color. As long as it was a complementary color, that was the language that we had suggested. Now, you have the ability of the council to pick and choose what you would like to include, or what there might be a portion of this you don't want to include.
Did you finish reading your sections? I thought you had another number 2.
Well, that's the balance of number 2. Okay. Then number 3, and these are all conditions. Because one of the aspects of a metal building that was the reason some of the metal buildings was left out of the original ordinance change in 2020 was because it's a featureless building. They're worried about having just a cracker box on it. That'll be my description of it. So the way we language that, and we feel like we've addressed it, is all residential structures shall have gabled or hip roof with a minimum of 12-inch eaves and 8-inch rakes. So it's more of a traditional roof structure, roof look and everything. And it helps provide, it helps to address a featureless type building. That was one aspect. That was number 3. And number 4, all residential structures shall have a porch with a gable, hip, or shed roof. So we aren't going to define porch size. We're just going to say, the suggestion was that you require a porch on a residential structure made of metal so that it's not featureless. It could be a 4x4 porch. You could have a 20x8, or whatever that homeowner or builder decided that they would like to have. So those are the use conditions that was suggested.
Garages?
Yeah, as far as residential as far as a garage in a residential area,
They have to have a porch?
no, not a garage. Residential, that's why we defined it as residential structure. And if we need to address that, we can.
Well, myself, I think I've seen many, many homes that I travel around with my job that are two-tone metal siding that they'll knock your socks off, I should say. That's my feeling on that, with having a brick or rock or whatever all the way around the building. I've seen homes that are with the two-colored metal that are immaculate. So I've done two-colored metal that are immaculate. So
if you had, if to kind of take what you're saying a little bit farther, if you feel like a two-tone facade is acceptable, that can be added. And then at that point, the homeowner that's just doing the building and whatnot can, if they like stone, brick, wood, whatever they would like, or if they just want to do two-tone, this language will accommodate all that.
Two-tone can be the metal building that surrounds the house and one color, and then the roof be another color, that's two-tone.
In this, it has to be a facade or wainscot. The way the language is written to be like a facade type, two-tone facade around the building.
At 33%.
That's 33%.
I've been in real estate a bunch of years. I've never seen where a facade gives that much value to a house. If you're selling a house, if it's a nice looking house, they don't care if it's got 2 foot, 3 foot around. And I lived in Tulsa for many years. Most of them up there, if they did have it, it would only go 3/4 story. And it never went to the back. Like it doesn't really, houses can approach for comparably, comparable numbers, whether it's a nice masonite siding or metal. In fact, I think you get better fire insurance than metal homes.
So, again, this is a living document, and we can tweak, adjust, modify, whatever aspects of it that you like. It's better to take the time and get it right, where everyone's satisfied with it, than to feel like we're rushed into approving something. Because we aren't rushed into approving. I'm a believer in doing it right once, and then we'll be good to go.
One of my deals too is it's not, where you buy your metal, most places anymore, comes on giant rolls, so they can roll and cut, length, whatever style you want. When it comes to your other building materials, like your different types of stone and brick, there's a huge waiting list on materials right now, so that puts people behind, whether they're selling or whether they're building to live in. So I just think the options need to be there to do full metal. It does need to be two-toned. find another color, but I don't understand it, just the facade. That's just me.
I agree with you, Mr. Upton, on that. I think that the two-tone, metal, is sufficient. Mr. Davis?
Well, like I say, I've constructed a lot of metal homes, and I can take you to places, if you look at a home, you would not know it's a metal home. From a distance, you would not know. So, and you do need some kind of facade. I don't care if it's metal or what. That makes a difference.
Yeah, the break up the,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
break up.
so, I don't care whether it's metal, brick or what. But you need it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on the two-tone your facade, but I mean, if you want to do metal at the bottom, metal at the top, it's supposed to be different colors.
Yeah.
So what about the wrap as far as, do you feel like we need to modify that? Do we need to go 3 sides? Do we stick with 4, or what do you all think on that?
Normally, at the backside, nobody but you is looking at it.
That's true.
I feel it needs to be something if it's visible from the street perspective, I mean, you see it from the road, it needs to be changed up.
Right.
Yeah, if you're on a corner lot, probably.
Yeah, it's no doubt.
You can have that language.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
You can be seen, but I mean, it doesn't, I wouldn't feel it had to, but there's extra money for the new. And that makes it doesn't add value.
Right. Okay. We'll take whatever direction you gentlemen want to offer, and we'll modify it, and we can come back. I think it's important that we do it right once.
Yes. I say we go with the, two-tone metal.
That's okay. Okay, we can leave that in there. Okay.
Yes, it don't have to be the brick or the rock or.
Either or.
Either or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say if it was on a corner lot, 3 sides.
Or you can do what James suggested, if it can be seen and visible and,
Then what if you're gonna have a residence?
It's visible from the back. I mean, houses in Tulsa, the backyard, they have wrap
3 sides, the front?
sides.
Yeah.
So the house back in January, it had 3 sides, and it was only come up about like that to the side. It looked nice.
Council, what's your opinion on it? On 3 sides or?
I think the 3 sides look better. I mean, you can still see some of the, you still see some of the yards are bigger than others, and you still see the sides all the way down, so I think it's more uniform to match at least. Not necessarily just the blue.
Yeah, some things like. At least 3 sides.
Traditional.
What do you say, Mr. Davis?
Well, I like consistency. I know y'all say we'll add no value to the house, but if I'm gonna do something, then I won't mind the uniform. So if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it all the way around. That's just me.
It's not stopping you from doing it all the way around. I mean, do all the way around.
To me, it looks better.
I think it does look better.
And the cost value is not gonna be that much difference. It doesn't matter how big the house is gonna be, the cost is not gonna be that much difference. We're talking about metal now, because you're gonna have to buy, I don't care if you're building a 5,000 square foot home, you gotta buy another, enough to cover that 5,000 square foot home. And it's not gonna be that much different going two-tone all the way around.
Okay, council, I guess we need a vote.
You can vote for, you can give us, vote for recommendations.
Someone make a motion, put their favorite items in it, let's see if it passes.
Okay. I make a motion to do the two-tone metal siding. I would say 3 feet tall. And the other motion would be to do it on 3 sides.
And that 3 sides would actually apply whether you're two-tone metal or you're doing a standard brick stone facade.
Yes, sir.
I think we treat it as residential and commercial. Could we get just, we had to give the same type of questions, same type of thing.
Is this just new construction or is this remodel? Say, you have a house or you have a business and you restructuring, remodeling, you want to do the outside, so. Same, everything,
Yes,
all the same, things that one size fits all for everyone.
yes. I think it's cleaner, it's consistent, that, there's no, you remove the questions, you remove,
All the ifs and buts.
and you remove the variances and different things that need to be requested. It's clean, it's concise, this is what's acceptable outside of this, and you pretty much have taken everything in.
What do we got?
So at this point, we've got, two-tone is fine, two-tone metal is fine. Rather than doing a full wrap on the facade, you're saying 3 sides, street visible. Okay. So that's where we're at this point here.
36 inches at least minimum.
That's the one question that's really the one you have to answer because, it's all about proportion, and how do you proportion it right? I mean, if I was a builder, that's what I'm looking at. I'm a symmetrical person. I've got to have symmetry in what I look at. Maybe I don't want 33 inches, To me, if we set it lower and they wanted more, it's better than setting higher if they want less, because it's, you know what I mean? So what would be the minimum that you feel like would be acceptable? And if they want to go higher than that, they could. Because you know what I mean? So what would be the minimum that you feel like would be acceptable? And if they want to go higher than that, they could. And if 36 inches is a, acceptable limit, then that's how you kind of go down. But like you said, you had a house that had 2 foot and it was good, so. Probably give or take, just like this right here behind you.
It's too high.
It's pretty standard.
I think 36 inches is pretty standard from what I've seen.
Right.
But that's my opinion.
I think my personal opinion is if you use a percentage, then if someone has a 9-foot road, okay, 30, 33, that works. And then, but if you have an 8, and you want 3 foot on 8 foot seat, 8 foot wall, or not, you might not.
So you're saying 33 or 25 would we?
I would, if it was me, whether it's a 33%, I think I would use a percentage myself. That allows that flexibility, a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, I agree, 33. I think it'd be enough. Because the percentage, it's 1/3 basically what you're putting in.
what your plan is.
Well, then you're not counting into the back of the house. They use, we're not going to do the back of the house, back of the garage, and you're saying 33%. 33% may not
Be the
be the
30%. It's elevation, not wrap. It's not circumference.
It's not the whole
It has
house.
to do, no, it has to do with the elevation of the wainscot for the facade.
33% of that side.
That's right.
Do you want to amend your motion? Mayor?
We'll go with 33%.
So on item number 3, it says all residential structures shall have a gable or hip roof with a minimum of 12-inch eaves and 8-inch rakes. So specifically to that, and the reason for that was to give it, to eliminate that cracker box look and to make it, I think with something with eaves and rakes would fit into a neighborhood, you know, standard house, most of them will have that eave and the rake,
How about the garages?
same thing.
I mean, if I have a house right now, I want to build it, but just the metal garage, I gotta put a roof on it like that.
That's something that we can decide. You know, that gable and the eaves could be included in the house structure itself, but not an accessory building, because the garage would be considered an accessory building.
I wouldn't think the garage would need it.
It's just about conformity to the rest, you know, to the rest of the neighborhood. So does it look similar to what the other structures are, you know, with the eaves and the
Most garages right now have roofs and gables and all of that. Our garages.
I mean, as we have now, there is no requirement.
It's everything.
It's, you know,
A free for all.
we can,
I don't like free for all. but- Free for all.
The house itself needs an eave and a little bit of porch. And you said that was a 4-foot?
well, we just put that all residential structures made of metal, residential structures, would have a gable, a hip, or shed roof. We don't specify that it's any specific size, other than it just has to have a porch. And most people are going to build it, they're going to have a porch on
The garage that we put.
it. No, that's true. That's why we included residential.
I mean, it's not for a house. Or everything, a house.
So if you look, that's how we define it, all residential, not the accessory buildings.
I'll make a motion, we said that you put that language in there.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me which one.
So we'll go,
There you have one
We need
question.
to vote on we need a second on the mayor's motion, and then we need to vote. His motion states that he wants to motion for two-tone metal siding with 33% tall width and facade on 3 sides, street facing. That's his motion, that's on the floor.
okay.
Counselor Davis,
No.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Counselor
3-1, that motion carries. We'll move on to the other item.
Okay, so then you have the gabled or hip roof with a minimum of 12-inch eaves and 8-inch rakes for the residential house. They're separate items within here.
So right now, we're just the two.
Two-tone, 3-sided, 33%.
And,
Then we need to decide on the gabled or hip roof with 12-inch eaves and 8-inch rakes.
Make a motion, we'll add that.
Do you have a second?
I'll say.
Counselor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Then the final change in the use condition is all residential structures shall have a porch. We aren't specifying size, it's on that porch with a gable, hip, or shed roof.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, Chad, would you read that for me?
Oh, so would you read that to me?
What's that?
Would you read that for me?
Okay, so all residential structures
Have a porch.
shall have a porch with a gable, hip, or shed roof.
May I ask a question? My house used to have one on the front, but not one on the back. So would that be required for the front and back?
Or either or. One or the other.
At least in the discussions that we had, the thought was on the front, the street facing side, what would be considered the front of the house, not so much the rear of the structure.
So who motioned?
I did, and Kirby seconded.
Counselor Davis? Yes. Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Counselor Upton?
Yes.
Counselor Kirby?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Anything else on that, Mr. Jones?
No, so we'll, based on your votes here, what we'll do is we'll take this information back. I'll get the city attorney. We'll craft an ordinance language and the documents that we will need. And then we'll bring those back to you in January for your final vote.
Question.
Yes.
As people are in the next month or so, they may be in the building stage, can they get a variance? If they're in the building stage, can they get a variance if they're?
Yes, they could, but chances though, where we're at in the month right now, because of the mailings and the publishings that's required, you'll actually get it approved. You'll approve it in January before they're able to get it before planning zone.
Okay.
And with the holidays, it's not going to affect anyone that much.
Item 10, remarks and inquiries by the city council. Mr. Davis.
Well, all I gotta say is the Christmas parade went real well. I enjoyed that. I wish we had more participants in the boat parade, but overall, everything went well.
I agree with Mr. Davis. We got the boat parade. I wasn't able to make the downtown parade, but the boat parade was excellent, I thought, even though we had low water. That caused a few problems for some people, but we had a good turnout around the lake, Cove area. I know I've seen pictures of our downtown parade, and it looked excellent. And I think the city done an excellent job on decorating. Police department, Public Works, Jed, everybody. I want to thank you, fire department. Everybody done an excellent job. So I think it was all good myself. Mr. Upton.
Well, y'all already kind of touched on everything. I'm just glad it's at night, Christmas parade's at night now, where we can actually see the decorations and lights a lot better than daytime. So I think people enjoy it a lot more.
Mr. Kirby.
I'm sorry, I missed a few things. I had surgery, so I had to trade the deck to get to see the parade. But I did hear that everything went well, everything was really nice. And I also wanted to compliment the Iron Head football team. I think they had an awesome season, and those boys should be proud of themselves. They had a great season. Good team this year. Coaches, fans.
All right, move on to item 11. Any announcements?
Next next weekend is the cookie crawl on Saturday, so be sure to go downtown and visit and vote for your favorite cookie. December the 16th, Friday night at 6 o'clock, the reindeer will be back in the park. So bring your kids out. The chamber is going to be doing cookies and hot chocolate that night. And if you haven't picked up your Santa letter for your kids or grandkids, you can get it at any of the participating businesses, or you can pick one up at City Hall. The Santa mailbox is at the chamber, and if you get it in before December the 16th, and you put your address, then we'll get a postcard from Santa back.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I need a motion, item 12, for adjournment of the regular city council meeting at 6:10.
Councilor Davis,
Yes.
Councilor Kirby.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to move on to the Eufaula Public Works Authority, December the 5th, 2022, meeting at 6:10 PM. Ms. Cox?
Councilor Davis. Vice Mayor Mauser is absent. Mayor Warren,
Here.
Councilor Upton.
Here.
Councilor Kirby.
Here. All right, we'll go to consent agenda. Item 2, approval of minutes. A, regular meeting November 7th, 2022. 3, approval of the November 2022 payroll figures for the Eufaula Public Works Authority in the amount of $42,780.13. Item 4, receiving claims, Eufaula Public Works Authority. Council?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Councilor Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Councilor Upton,
Yes.
Councilor Kirby.
Yes. All yes, consent agenda has been approved. We'll move on to item 5, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of pay application number 27 from Lone Hickory Cattle Company LLC in the amount of $80,256. Mr. Jones.
This is just installment number 27 on the water project. This is the majority of the work is what they've done up on Norm Hill. And they actually have all the lines installed, all the taps are made. This Friday, probably for 6 to 8 hours, we're gonna have the water off on the hill. And it's to make the final water main connections and disconnections from the old system. So it'll be a little bit of an inconvenience, but it's, once we get this done, then we should be good to go, and the hill will be finished up.
Can we get that out on our media?
Send it out today.
Okay.
And you won't, we have, in our billing system, we have the ability to do notifications that there's actually can be map driven. I can highlight an area in a map of the city, and I can direct those communications to those customers within that area, which we did today. Today was the first one. So we put it out today for Friday, and then we're going to put out another one on Thursday as a second reminder for Friday.
How's that from the bridge on up?
Bridge up, everything, just, the area on the hill, west of the bridge. But Swanley, Lackey, Gilbert, Knight, Palmer, Okalita, Lovey, and Hilldale.
I noticed that Hilldale has a fire plug now, Hilldale and Swanton. Is that off the 6-inch line?
It is. Sure, it's not off the 2.
Not on the 2.
It's off 6.
All right. Just one.
So anyway, we're just asking for you to approve the payout. Then we have a meeting scheduled 15th, I believe, for the initial punch list for some of this. Go out and take a look at everything, see what we need to come up with, what needs to be addressed, for the project. So,
All right, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilor Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Councilor Upton,
yes.
and Councilor Kirby.
Yes. All yes, that motion carries. Item 6, adjournment of the Youth Fall Public Works Authority at 6:15 p.m.
Motion adjourned. I'll second.
Councilor Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Ward?
Yes,
Councilor Upton?
Yes.
Councilor Kirkland?
Yes.
all yes. That motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it.